Anyone who helps a worthless person is an idiot and will be fired. Collapsed under the scorching sun. I helped a homeless man and was late for a business meeting. That's why I got fired from my job today. But I don't regret it. If I had just ignored him, I'm sure I would have felt a nagging guilt deep inside every day. As I was packing up to leave the office, my manager, in a panic, came rushing over. "Mr. Smith, check out social media right now. Our company's name is trending." The color drained from Mr. Smith's face. Not knowing what was happening, I looked at my smartphone, and there was the homeless man I had helped. The next moment, I came to understand everything. Yes, his true identity. My name is Mike. Working as a salesperson for a cosmetics company, I continue making my rounds outside today. I'm telling you I'm not interested. I'm hanging up now. Hey, wait. Sigh. Another no-go. I had been calling a client I had visited before, but maybe it wasn't their day. They hung up on me. This makes it the 8th one. I've been making calls since morning, but still haven't managed to get a face-to-face meeting. What should I do with this? At this rate, I'll definitely get her earful from Mr. Morris again today. And speaking of the devil, the smartphone I was holding started ringing, notifying me of a call from the last person I wanted to talk to. This screen displayed Mr. Morris. I would have preferred to pretend I didn't notice and let it pass, but that would probably lead to more trouble later on, so I resigned myself and pressed the call button. "Hey Mike, how's the morning going?" "Well, I haven't secured a single deal yet." "What? You know, I gave you some of my regular clients." "What are you doing?" "I'm sorry. I was trying to call them first, but I just couldn't get an appointment." "Of course. Don't just call. Go there and talk to them directly. Seriously, at this rate, you'll miss your quota again this month." "Or what? You want to embarrass yourself in front of the others again? Especially after last month." Mr. Morris, who's always nagging about get contracts and making a fuss, calls me just to complain like this at length. I heard from the seniors that he was a go-getter on the field, bringing in a tremendous number of contracts, but by the time I joined the company, he was already in a managerial position. I have no idea how skilled he was at his job, and to me, he's just a boss who does nothing but nag and berate. I pretend to be reflective and just nod along apologetically. Listen, like I've said before, the most important thing is sales. Our company is doing well this fiscal year. We need to keep increasing sales and expanding. When I was younger, let me tell you, true to Mr. Morris's words, our company's sales are booming this year. The profits are not just on an upward trend. They are in significant black numbers. There was a major overhaul in the executives and management, and a complete revamp in the business strategy. Colleagues and seniors were all abuzz about it, but the real ins and outs are beyond me. To be honest, I'm not just clueless about it. I'm not really interested. Anyway, just think that you can't return to the office today unless you secure at least one deal. See ya." He just says what he wants and hands up. Really, what should I do? I wonder if the change in management policy is really a good thing. Honestly, as someone who deals with customers on the front lines, I don't think it's good. What's important is the numbers. What matters is the sales. Customer needs come second or third. It's just the kind of thinking Mr. Morris would love. That's what I think. If I go back to the office without securing a single deal, I'll probably receive an even more severe lecture than ever before. With that thought in mind, I decided to continue making calls. "See you. I'm leaving now." "Hey, Mike. Wait a moment." Finally, with 2 deals secured, I returned to the office to sort out the paperwork. I was about to leave at the end of my shift when Mr. Morris called me over. I thought I had avoided a scolding, but what could it be? Thinking this, I walked over to Mr. Morris's desk, where he was looking quite displeased, poring over some documents. Without even glancing in my direction, he said, "How many years have you been with this company?" "Oh, it's my 4th year now." "It's about time you realize that after 4 years with this company, your current performance is simply not good enough." "But what can I do about that?" "You're capable when you put your mind to it. Aren't you just slacking off normally?" "I'm taking the time to understand your work and give you advice, even though it's my valuable time. And yet, here you are." "I'm sorry. Listen, don't just be satisfied with securing 2 deals today. Aim for 4 tomorrow. I'll try, but it feels like fewer clients are willing to listen these days. That's just because you lack passion. If you sell our products with passion, customers will naturally agree. That's how I've been securing contracts, and it's the basic rule of selling. How can I be convinced by that? If you go to a convenience store and someone aggressively sells you expensive wine, most people wouldn't just say, "Okay, I'll take it." No matter how much passion we salespeople put in, if the product isn't good, we can't expect to make a sale. And even if what we're selling is of high quality, if people don't see a need for it, they won't buy it. But I, lacking the courage to say such things face to face, was worn out by the constant barrage of criticism and left the office exhausted. On my way home from the office to my apartment, I passed a local takeout restaurant, a sight becoming increasingly rare these days. While it might seem common, it's not a chain but a privately owned restaurant. For a poor, single white-collar worker like me, this takeout restaurant is a godsend. The prices aren't too high, and more importantly, I believe the meals offer better nutritional balance compared to cup noodles and the like. Well, that's just my personal opinion. It's been 4 years since I graduated, moved out of my parents' house, and started living alone. The day after I moved into my current place, I discovered this takeout restaurant, and its meals quickly became my favorite. Without realizing it, I found myself visiting this restaurant almost every night, except on weekends. "Welcome. Oh, Mike, you're early today." Emily, who cheerfully greeted me, claims to be the poster girl of the restaurant, though she is actually the owner. It's impressive, or rather expected, that she remembers me, a regular who buys dinner from her restaurant every night. We've become quite familiar with each other now. Yes, I managed to leave on time for a change. Wow, you don't sound happy about it, even though you're saying you left on time. Jer, being happy about leaving on time. That sounds like a really bad sign, doesn't it? Like, the end of the line kind of bad. True that. But you don't seem your usual self today, Mike. It's just that work has been really hectic lately, and there's been a lot going on. The words from my boss, whether they're scoldings or just reprimands, have been weighing heavily on me. Facing sales rejections can be tough, especially when they come with a firm no, thank you. When the direction and goals remain unclear for too long, it's natural for anyone to feel disheartened. As I tried not to show my discouragement and was looking at the meals on the counter, Emily seemed to be pondering something. "I've got it. Let's do this." Caught off guard, I instinctively looked up at Emily, wondering what she had figured out. Before I had the chance to ask, she placed a plate in front of me. "Here you go. Tonight's special for you is the big plate. It's my top recommendation for today." "Is that so?" I, proudly placing her hands on her hips and declaring an enthusiastic ahem, showed that Emily was likely a person with a lively and amusing personality. Indeed, I've known Emily for years and am well aware of her amusing personality. She continued enthusiastically. "Today's special includes really delicious pork." I was a bit indecisive because the meat itself tasted so good, but I minced some garlic and mixed it with my secret sauce, and voila! A surprise big plate that's perfect for you when you are feeling low on energy. Well, I'm not sure what it is exactly, but it sounds tasty. Your reaction is so casual. But it's okay. Mike, you usually buy vegetables or dishes with light seasoning, right? I'm happy no matter what you choose because I put my heart into everything, but I got a bit worried. Don't worry. Pork is rich in protein and good for fatigue recovery, so please try it. Hey Emily, you are always so lively. Welcome, Mr. Thompson. Wait, weren't you supposed to have a drinking party today? Yay, about that, it's actually starting soon. I'm here to grab something for a late-night snack since I don't eat much at drinking parties. A big plate as a late-night snack might make you gain weight. How about this one? It's not too high in calories, perfect for after drinks or late at night. It's clear that Emily is a popular figure around here, and she's incredibly beautiful, too. Many customers flock to her store every day. The customer currently chatting amicably with Emily is someone I've seen a few times before. Their interaction reveals just how observant and thoughtful Emily is. She listens and watches her customers closely, intuitively understanding what they seek. She effortlessly gleans this from casual conversations and makes fitting suggestions. It struck me how different she is from me at the moment. Being in a customer-facing profession myself, I realized that ideally, I should be more like her. Really, Emily, you're so good at business. Thanks for this, I'm off now. Alright, take care. Oh, wait a second. Huh? Let's see, I knew I had it somewhere. Here it is. Huh? What's this? A nutritional drink. Yeah, a vendor left these turmeric drinks here the other day. They were a bit too mature for my taste, so I was wondering what to do with them. Please take one if you like. What's this? Well, thanks anyway. Don't drink too much, okay? We'll be waiting for you to come back. You're amazing, Emily. In so many ways. Am I? I'm not sure about that. Just, various things. You really remember your customers well, and then there's the last thing. Oh, the turmeric drink. Yeah, I ended up with a whole case of samples, and I was wondering what to do with them. Emily, blushing slightly, had dashed out of the store for a moment and now returns inside, laughing. Drinking this before alcohol is said to prepare the liver and help prevent hangovers. Well, I don't drink much myself, so I don't really know if it's true. No, really, I think you're amazing. Impressed, I still found my gaze returning to the meal in front of me. The big plate. And there's an adorable little pop-up on it. A cartoon girl is drawn on it, her fist thrust forward, and the words hanging there, handwritten beside her. I couldn't help but smile. Emily, I'll take this one, please. Oh, the big plate. Thank you very much. I'll get it ready for you right away. With that, she quickly put the meal into a bag and handed it over to me. I took the bag with the meal from Emily, paid for my purchase, and left the store. Mike. Just as I left the store, I was called from behind. Eat that and get a good night's sleep, so you can wake up feeling refreshed tomorrow. Waving energetically, Emily's cheerfulness made me a bit embarrassed, but I nodded in acknowledgement and headed home. However, something didn't quite sit right with me. Despite her enthusiasm about the big plate, I couldn't recall seeing it in the counter display. Watching Emily's interactions with a regular customer had profoundly impacted my approach to work. Our company's lotion. How did you find it when you used it? Well, the makeup applies really smoothly the day after using it, but it's a bit pricey. Indeed, it is a bit more expensive compared to other brands. Here, I've brought a catalog from another company. Exactly. This one. I used this before. It was affordable, which was great, but it somehow didn't blend well with my skin. It felt like it was losing firmness. I see. If it's similar ingredients you're looking for, this product from another company might suit you. Oh, how is this one? This lotion might be more compatible with your skin type. And regarding the price you were concerned about, it's not much different from the one you previously used. But weren't you supposed to be promoting your company's lotion? Is it okay for you to recommend a product from another company? Well, I may get in trouble for this, but I believe that each customer has different needs. Rather than just representing my company, personally, I think it's better to guide customers to what they truly need. Really? Well, I understand. I'll be going shopping soon, so I'll try this lotion. If it doesn't work out, can I still consult with you? Of course. I'm always available to help you find a perfect product. Until now, I was told to aggressively push sales, and even though I felt something was off, I didn't have a clear answer and just went with the flow. However, after seeing Emily's approach to customer service, I realized that this way of thinking was not right. I started to realize that understanding what the customer is seeking is the most important thing. Working with this mindset, I began to think along with each client about what they really wanted. Surprisingly, my performance started to improve day by day. The fact that my clients started saying, "I want to introduce you to someone I know," might be one of the reasons for my improved performance. Initially, Mr. Morris and colleagues suspected me of wrongdoing, wondering if I was engaging in some sort of misconduct. However, as customer feedback came in, describing me as a salesperson who genuinely cared for their needs, those suspicions faded away. Hey, Mike, where are you right now? Then one day, while I was on my way to my 5th appointment, I received an unexpected call from Mr. Morris. I didn't stop walking to my next destination as I answered the phone. I'm on my way to the next client. How long will it take you to get back to the office? From here, probably about 30 minutes. Yes, come back right away. But wait, I have my next appointment coming up. Cancel it and come back immediately. Rushing back to the office, I found myself unexpectedly in the president's office. Sorry for calling you in so abruptly, said Mr. Smith. No, it's fine. But why am I here, especially with Mike? Did he do something wrong? No, it's not like that. Mike, you've been doing really great work recently. Thank you. I've been fortunate with my clients. Some have even introduced me to their acquaintances. That's good to hear. Well, it must be a result of your hard work. Do you know about Johnson Productions, the major modeling agency? The one that's famous for having many popular fashion models on its roster. Yes, that's the one. The Johnson Productions, which has many models appearing in magazines and TV shows recently, approached us for a business proposal. Suddenly, what's this all about? It seems that Mr. Johnson's wife heard about you. Me? Yes, you've actually met her and sold some products to her, right, Mike? Oh, now that you mention it, Mrs. Johnson has indeed been purchasing quite a bit from us recently. Naturally, as I got to know more about Mrs. Johnson through our conversations, I understood more about her and her husband's business, as well as their situation. However, I never expected things to escalate to this extent, and there was never any talk of such a deal. If it were just a matter of your good reputation, Mike, I doubt such an offer would have come up. But it seems they're very pleased with our products. The proposal for a business partnership also came about because they highly appreciate our products. Mike, you're amazing. No, it's not all me. It's because our company's products have a good reputation, and that's why I wanted to talk to you. We've received a proposal from the agency to consider a large order as a precursor to a business partnership. Mike, would you be willing to handle this deal? Mr. Smith, but shouldn't I or someone else be handling such discussions? Morris, I understand what you're saying, and it's valid. I thought the same, but it was Mr. Johnson's specific request to have Mike handle it, and we can't really refuse that. Although I felt a slight hesitation about his words, I decided to take on the opportunity. It wasn't just because of the recognition or the large order that made me happy. It was because Mrs. Johnson and her husband needed me, and I felt I couldn't refuse their request. Considering the scale of the business deal, it was decided that not only I but also Mr. Smith and Mr. Morris would participate in the negotiations. I resolved to approach it as I always do. After the meeting concluded, Mr. Morris and I left Mr. Smith's office. Excuse us. Hey, Mike. What is it? Listen, I'm emphasizing this because you might not realize it, but make sure there are no blunders. This is not like your usual sales work. Mr. Smith and I will be there. This is a company-level negotiation. I understood that already. But of course, I couldn't say that out loud. I maintained my composure and simply replied, "Understood." Killing time until it was appropriate to leave for the office, I arrived at work on time and started preparing for the big meeting, checking everything thoroughly. Hey, Mike. Mr. Smith and I are going ahead to greet them. Make sure you're there 15 minutes before the meeting starts. Understood. After Mr. Morris left the office, I double-checked the documents and materials to ensure there were no errors. I completed my preparations about an hour before the scheduled time. The office of our client was a 30-minute journey away, but to be on the safe side, I decided to leave a bit early. The office was quicker to reach by bus or taxi than by train, so I planned to take whichever I came across first. Normally, buses don't come at convenient times, but that day, I was lucky to spot one right away and headed for the bus stop. Though the early morning felt somewhat cool, it was still summer. Any brisk walking would inevitably lead to sweating. I pulled out a handkerchief from my pocket to wipe the sweat away. At that moment, appreciating the cool relief from the ice bag Emily had given me that morning, I noticed a man while waiting for the traffic signal to change. Our eyes met as I looked out from the bus. The man had a peculiar air about him. Judging from his attire, he was likely homeless. His clothes were worn thin in places from rubbing. His sandals were broken, with the thongs torn, crudely repaired with some other fabric. Our eyes met. Yes, in this heat. I couldn't help but think about how tough it must be in this heat. Just then, Like a puppet with its strings cut, he collapsed forward in a chilling manner. No way. But what was strange was that despite his obvious fall, everyone nearby seemed to be deliberately ignoring it. Could it really be that no one was willing to help? In a split second, I rushed to the bus driver. "Driver, open the door." "What? What are you talking about?" "A man has collapsed outside. Hurry up." There was no time for details. Startled by my loud voice, the bus driver quickly opened the door. I dashed towards the fallen man and immediately tried to get his attention. "Sir, are you okay? Can you hear me?" There was no response. "Sir, I'm sorry, I'm going to touch you." "Sir, do you feel this?" There was no response. "Someone, please call an ambulance. Hurry up." But no one around seemed to react. "Sir, this is cold, can you feel it?" Suddenly remembering, I pressed the ice pack, which was wrapped in my handkerchief, against his neck. Despite my efforts to get a response from him, he remained unresponsive. I continued to call out to him loudly, over and over again. After a while, a businessman and a high school girl came over. "I've called an ambulance." "Let's move him to the shade," said the businessman. I brought some water. In situations like this, it's better to cool down, right? "Use this," offered the high school girl. Together, we moved the man to the shade and applied the cold water the girl had brought to his body, continuing to talk to him and trying to revive him. As more people began to gather, the paramedics arrived, pushing through the crowd. "Thank you." "What happened?" "He suddenly collapsed. We thought it might be heat stroke, so we've been trying to cool him down." "Got it, thanks for your help." "Sorry, but can you come with us?" "Me? He probably doesn't have family we can contact." "Okay, I understand." I accompanied the man as he was efficiently placed on a stretcher and taken to the ambulance. Once inside and regaining my composure, I hastily took out my smartphone. "Excuse me, is it all right if I make a quick call to my boss? I have an important business meeting today." "All right, go ahead." I quickly called Mr. Morris. "I'm sorry for being late." In a client's executive office, I bowed deeply and apologized. After 4 years in the workforce, I knew this wouldn't be easily forgiven, but I chose to apologize earnestly. "Mike, what have you done? Our company's reputation is at stake because of you. You should understand, business deals and contracts are about keeping promises. To break a promise at such a critical moment, how do you plan to take responsibility for this?" Amidst the echoing anger in the room, an unfamiliar voice interjected. "Mr. Smith, let's not be too harsh. We would like to understand why the agreed-upon time was not met. Of course, there must be a significant reason for it." The voice sounded calm, but at the end of the sentence, there was an implied pressure, the likes of which I had never felt before. My hands and feet trembled as I explained the events of the day. "What on earth, Mike? Helping a homeless man who collapsed, accompanying him to the hospital. This is absurd. For such a reason, you jeopardized our business deal with Johnson Productions. What were you thinking? Prioritizing someone of no value over a deal that's immeasurably more important. Anyone would understand that." I couldn't say anything in response, just silently enduring the barrage of reprimands from Mr. Morris and Mr. Smith. I knew that anything I said now would be futile. So, I decided to accept their scolding, no matter how harsh. The real question was, what would I do next? What should I do? Just as I was pondering my situation, there was an interruption. "Excuse me, Mr. Johnson, may I? We're in a meeting with a client. Please wait." "No, it's about this." Suddenly, a secretary entered the room and handed what appeared to be a tablet to Mr. Johnson. Initially glaring at the secretary, Mr. Johnson's expression shifted to one of slight bewilderment as he looked at the tablet and then abruptly turned his gaze towards me. "Turn on the sound." "Yes, sir." In the now silent room, my voice echoed. The seemingly futile shouts I had made to the collapsed man, those cries I thought were meaningless, but they had reached the businessman and high school girl who helped me, and now they were being heard by everyone in this room. It appears to be a video that's widely circulating on various social media platforms. "I see. Thank you. You can leave that here." "Certainly." "Then, I'll excuse myself." As the secretary left, Mr. Morris, Mr. Smith, and I watched her go. Mr. Johnson, ignoring us, finally spoke. Mike, was it? Caught off guard by hearing my name, I involuntarily tensed up. You, Mike, are a remarkable person. No, this incident can't just be brushed off as tardiness, negligence, or rudeness. You did something to be proud of. Hearing Mr. Johnson's words, the expressions of both Mr. Smith and Mr. Morris brightened up immediately. So, shall we proceed with the presentation? No need. Excuse me. Didn't you hear me? I said no need. Hearing his reply, Mr. Smith and Mr. Morris beamed even more. Thank you for your generous understanding. We knew you were a man of broad-mindedness, but this exceeds all expectations. We were hoping to proceed to the business discussion immediately. Interrupting Mr. Smith, Mr. Johnson spoke with a low, intimidating voice. Mike is indeed as wonderful as I've heard. A man like him, criticized and blamed without reservation, and moreover, for a company that trivializes a human life. We have no interest in doing business. But wait, we understand that helping others is important, but to take up your valuable time. What of my time? Yes, I too waited for him. Initially, I wondered what to do, but now that I know why he was late, I only have praise for him, not blame or responsibility. What about you? From what I hear, it seems you don't share that sentiment. Mr. Johnson, that's a misunderstanding. Mr. Johnson, in front of the flustered Mr. Smith and Mr. Morris, took out a business card and offered it gently. I don't like the term helping the needy. Let me clarify, and my goal is to bring smiles to as many people as possible. I founded this agency with that purpose in mind. As a former model, personal support was often labeled hypocrisy, so I decided to support others through the agency instead. That's why, shortly after starting this office, I established a charity for the homeless. It's not about hypocrisy, but about aiding those facing job and housing struggles. I admire those who help others and aspire to be like them. But it seems you have a different mindset. Mr. Johnson, that's a misunderstanding. No, there's no misunderstanding. You made your position clear earlier, using the very words I despise most. Miller, please see them out. Mr. Johnson. Soon, the secretary named Miller, who had entered earlier, stood in front of Mr. Smith and Mr. Morris, indicating it was time for them to leave. The situation had escalated dramatically, and as I watched, almost feeling like an outsider, I too stood up to leave. Mike, I'd like to have a word with you. Yes, of course. Summoned back to my seat with a tone much gentler than before, I sat down again. Honestly, I find it interesting to leave someone like you in your current company. Well, yes, I suppose. I'll probably lose my place there now. Although I said what I did earlier, I must admit I'm quite greedy. When I want something, I like to keep it within my reach. I was initially just curious based on what my wife told me about you, but now it's different. How about it? Would you consider working with me? I was taken aback by the sudden offer. You might have heard, but originally, we were looking for a partner company to handle cosmetics. However, today's events have disrupted that plan. Still, I don't intend to deviate from my goals. That's where you come in, if you're willing. It might be a way to make use of my 4 years of experience. Lost in thought. I understand. Since then, I left my old company and started working for Mr. Johnson. Although setting up a new cosmetics department is taking some time, and I'm mainly doing odd jobs around the office for I haven't been able to engage in the kind of work I did at my previous company yet. But I'm hopeful that soon I'll be able to interact with many people again in my work. I had the chance to go out for drinks with my former colleagues from my previous company, and during the conversation, I learned that after my departure, the company's reputation in the market had taken a severe hit. Initially, it seemed my actions were praised, but rumors began to spread after I left, and now, apparently, those rumors have evolved into quite exaggerated tales. I didn't delve into the details. A former colleague advised me, with a wry smile, that it was better not to know. Furthermore, I heard that there had been an increase in complaints from the clients I used to handle, leading to a noticeable drop in sales. My ex-colleagues jokingly made snide comments about it, but I took it in stride. Then, as I was getting accustomed to my new workplace, an unexpected incident happened one day. I was suddenly called from behind. Excuse me. Yes. Turning around, I saw a man with a strikingly handsome face, who seemed vaguely familiar yet not. He was dressed in a sharp suit and exuded the aura of a competent professional. Approaching me with an apologetic look, he spoke. "Thank you for the other day." "Sorry." "No, I mean, thank you for helping me." "What? Is something wrong? Are you malfunctioning?" I was completely puzzled until the man explained. "Apologies for not introducing myself sooner. I'm Anderson. I was informed by the paramedics that you helped me when I collapsed from heat stroke the other day." "Me? Yes. Yes. So, I wanted to express my gratitude." "You mean you're that person? This stylish middle-aged man?" "Well, I don't know about stylish middle-aged, but yes, that was me." Anderson turned out to be an incredibly dashing individual. Apparently, after his discharge from the hospital, Mr. Johnson approached him. He was invited to join the president's charity organization, and happily, he successfully reintegrated into society. It seemed almost unbelievable how much he had changed. I had to wonder if he was really the same person. Amidst all this, Mr. Johnson's new venture, the cosmetics department, was established, and surprisingly, I found myself in one of the top positions. Anderson, efficient as he was, had quickly become an indispensable member of the team, and I realized I couldn't let my guard down. Really, it's a wonder how one can end up homeless. "Mike, I've taken care of the rest of today's work, so you can head home now. I feel bad leaving early, but go on. Your girlfriend is waiting, isn't she?" Grinning, Anderson made the remark, and I couldn't help but think how effortlessly cool he was. It seemed unfair how everything he did was just so stylish. "Actually, your girlfriend is already downstairs waiting for you." "What? Why didn't you tell me sooner?" I've got to go." Rushing down to the front of the office, I found my girlfriend standing there, puffing her cheeks in mock annoyance. "Really, Mike? You invite me out and then keep me waiting. What's that about?" Sorry. As punishment, you're getting a full course of your least favorite dish, broccoli, for breakfast tomorrow." Lucky you. How did things end up like this? But as silly as these thoughts were, I was living a joyfully fulfilling life.